engines are revving after week 11. We got all the highlights and tons of huge matches. Then there's also whatever the hell this is.
Welcome, heroes of the NCPL.
PokeCentre starts now. Everyone, I hope you got that life orb as the item on your Pokemon this week, because it's exactly what you need. You need that extra little bit of power to get yourself across the finish line to get into playoffs this week, and it's a risk worth taking to get a shot at the NCPL and into the Hall of Fame. I'm Douglas Evans, joined by Calvin Rowat. Calvin, how you doing?
I'm doing super.
That's great, and we want to welcome everyone to episode 11 of PokeCentre. And what an episode we have for you today. We just wrapped up week 11, the last week in the regular season of the Commander Draft Tournament, and we're marching on now. We're going to be heading into the playoffs here. We got a huge episode for you with all the highlights, so many great matches, so many great plays, all the great action. It's going to be coming right at you in just a few moments here, but we're going to take just a quick second to talk about a couple things. And first of all, I want to ask you, Calvin, I saw a couple days ago you decided to actually delay the playoffs by 1 week. Normally this week right now should have been week 1 of the playoffs happening, but you've delayed things. Why is that?
Well, there was a couple reasons, Douglas. The first and most important reason being that one of the playoffs that is in playoffs confirmed, Flo, was potentially going to have to drop from playoffs due to work scheduling. And since I wanted to avoid the problems that would have arose from that, won't get into it, but that was a major factor. The second thing is we really want to highlight and feature exhibition matches during this next week. So we figured giving everybody a break, and this would also allow anybody who makes playoffs to also participate without being overwhelmed with their playoff matches and also, battling their friends and so on and so forth.
That's awesome. I think that's a great idea. That's super cool that you guys are willing to accommodate to make sure that Flo was still able to participate in the playoffs. He's had a great season. Obviously, he's already secured a playoff spot. We don't know exactly where he's going to line up quite yet in the standings, but he's in playoffs, and it would suck to jeopardize that, and it would kind of create a bit of like a, well, what if Flo didn't have to drop out of playoffs, and maybe a tainted win for whoever the victor might be in this season. So I think pushing it a week is still great. And like you said, now we can highlight exhibition matches for this week here and for all the weeks to come, but the kind of exhibition matches get to shine for their very first week. I see you have it posted already, the thread for the first week of exhibition matches. There's so much potential. I love seeing all the kind of chat that's going on in the NCPL group chat about it. Seems like a lot of players are challenging other players, and we're going to see everyone's getting involved in it. How excited are you to see the exhibition matches?
I'm super excited. This really gives, like I was saying last week on PokeCentre, this is giving, an opportunity for players across divisions to be able to challenge each other, and have some of those dream matches. Like there's already lots of people hyping up some matches that they want to do. And, I'm looking forward to a lot of fun matches. Like we know Dan is challenging Jonas. Laurel is potentially thinking of challenging someone. I think it was Paul potentially. So lots of cool stuff, going on in the exhibition matches.
Yeah, I think it's a super great idea, and I can't wait to see all the matches that are played in the weeks to come as we kind of have these exhibition matches going down. So another thing to note, we want to remind everyone that we will do our absolute best to cover all the exhibition matches on PokeCentre, depending on how many there is. If there's like 50 matches played, we might not get every single match on PokeCentre, but Calvin and I are going to do our absolute best to try to cover all those matches and as many matches as we can in the weeks to come, along with playoff coverage that will start off after next week. But this week it's all about exhibition matches, baby, so play them up and we'll do our best to cover them here. Now I think it's time to get in those highlights. Calvin, what do you say?
Whoa, hold on, Douglas.
What?
Now, there's we need to talk about the elephant in the room here, and I promised the good people of the NCPL that I would talk to you about this. Laurel kind of called you out last week. She made a pretty substantial post highlighting a bunch of major issues with you. I got to get the scoop. Like, what's going on here? What's your response?
Wow. Okay, so you really just want me to... Okay. I don't know. I don't really have much to say about it, Calvin. I don't really know what Laurel's problem is. I don't understand what her beef is with me. Like, for me, there's no issue. There's no issue at all. I just like to have a little bit of fun here and there, and I've had fun at the expense of many players throughout this season. I don't know why Laurel thinks I'm just picking on her, when clearly I'm not. Like, I think the allegations like that are absolutely ridiculous. Her profane language is just totally unnecessary. There's no need to use all those kinds of words and disparage my name like that. But if that's what she needs to do in order to feel good about herself, that's fine. I'm fine to just kind of move on from it. I think at the end of the day, Laurel should really just focus on what she's doing to contribute to the group, and I'll focus on what I'm doing to contribute to the group. I think it's great that Laurel wants to keep playing. She's been helping a lot this season, doing the standings and helping with different things, and she's done great to expand the group and network within the community, and I think that's great that she's doing that, and I think I'm great doing this, hosting PokeCentre, and doing what we got going on here, and I don't think there's really much more to say than that. Like, to me, it's just a dead issue, and I don't really see the point in getting into this whole thing about it. So that's pretty much all I'm going to say about that. That's it. Let's move on. And let's get into those highlights now. Let's go. Kicking off this week in the Sword Division, and our first match is a huge one. It's Flo against Matthew. And the deal here is that if Matthew loses, Calvin, you'd be the first seed, but if Matthew wins, he's the first seed. Tell me what happens here.
Yes, that's correct, Douglas. And man, he really played a strong game. Got a really good berry on the Quillfish. Flo's prep really shining through. And once again, he makes the sacrifice to get a spike out and to lose the Quillfish. He did that against William in the season, in his match prior. You could definitely tell that Flo was feeling a little frustrated, and I could feel a little frustrated for him too. Look at this. You don't want that Mesprit living at 1%. You got the spike, you got the hail, and it's just there at 1%, so it can Healing Wish the Primarina. That is just frustrating as all hell. And this series of play here, I don't know who was more stubborn here. Flo tried to substitute this Arcs result, or Matthew Heater just staying in superpowering. It actually worked out for Matthew Heater. Arcs result had to go for the hail, and it was knocked out, which worked out great for Heater. Basically, what came down to deciding this match, though, was a very important flinch here. Rock slide flinch from the Savali onto the Rotom, guaranteeing Matt the victory here. I got to be honest. I'm glad I get to fight Flo in playoffs now, but I was kind of hoping that Matt would have lost, so I could have been that number 1 seed.
Calvin, at the end of the day, being number 1 seed doesn't matter. You're going to be in the playoffs, and it's all about going to the finals and winning that championship. Doesn't matter if you're 1st seed or 4th seed. Don't worry about that. You got bigger fish to fry. Glad to see Matthew finish off Flo with the multi-attack, though. That's the highlight for me. Next up, it's Vikram against William. Now, William's pretty secure in that 4th seed, but if Vikram beats him badly here, there's a chance that he could lose his playoff spot. Tell me what happened here, Calvin.
Well, what can we say? William's water weakness shines through yet again. This Assault Vest Samurott is going to just completely wall the camera up and going to really threaten William's team. Now, William makes a smart play here. He's anticipating the HP Electric, goes to the Bolton. But Samurott goes for Dragon Tail, which leads William to think that he doesn't have it, but he did actually have the HP Electric. Vic is very smart holding that one close to his chest. But William's not down yet. He's going to make a great play here with a play rough into the Fly God, and it's going to live at 1%. You can smell the salt through the computer screen. But yeah, that was kind of it. Metachan was too much for William's team. He really, didn't prep for it as best as he could have. And yeah, he's just going to go down here. And this match really opened things up for Sean.
Yeah, 100%. Vic lost his place in playoffs last week, but he might be playing playoff spoiler here. He 4-0'd William, and now Sean's got an opportunity, if Sean can get that big win against you, to knock William out of playoffs. And the plot thickens, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to that next match. Vikram has laid the groundwork, and all Sean needs is a huge win, but he's got to go through you, Calvin. Tell me what happens here.
Well, Sean was out for blood, you could tell. He was setting up the Cosmic Power Sigilift nice and early, and I panicked a little bit, but I got my bearings, brought in my Drudgegon on a roost, and well, that AV saved me here, because I was able to tank the stored power and drag it, tail it out. Woo! Disaster avoided. One of my favorite sets I brought to this match was the choice specs on Slazzle. In Sun, this thing is completely unwallable, especially without the Quagstar in this game. But where I made a drastic error in this game was this turn right here. I stayed in on the Yawn, and the Venusaur is now in against Bronzong. It's going to growth, and, well, now look, my only check to this Venusaur is asleep and at 49% health. At this point, I figured I was done. I've got to somehow blow through Sun turns, and I'm going to lose. Go to Salazzle, but Sean switches. Apparently, he thought I was Scarfed, and he also didn't have Earth Power. Wow, that was the worst possible thing Sean could have done as far as this game is concerned. And now look at this. After Aromatize is able to heal out the Bronzong, now it's able to do its job later on in the match and actually take out the Venusaur. You know, Sean really struggled to get past the Aromatize, and I think that was really pivotal in my game and keeping the Bronzong healthy. Just that Steel Fairy Core is really great in this match. You know, it's a tough loss for Sean to take. This was, you know, his most important match, especially with William losing. But, you know, we had a really great game.
Yeah, a great game, but talk about a turn that cost you everything. That one turn cost Sean his whole season here. And now we have the top 4 seeds are set in the Sword Division, and Sean unfortunately is now on the outside looking in. There's no playoff drama here, but holy smokes, was this a great match. Joshua and Lewis, take it away.
Yeah, these two couldn't care at all if they're in playoffs or not, because they're having one hell of a match here. The Lurantis is going to do what Lurantis does best. It's going to start boosting. And it gets a superpower off on the Silvally Dark on a nice prediction. And Josh makes a really bad mistake in parting shots. It's going to have the opposite effect on Lurantis. But he's got the Dusclops in, and, you know, he's been really making a lot of use out of this Pokemon in the last few weeks. You know, just Protect, Toxic, Shadow Snake. It's so annoying, but it's so effective. Boom. The Lurantis is gone, and the Dusclops is still standing. You know, that's what Josh likes to see. Now, the Blastoise is in, but it's actually going to forego any boosting and just go straight for the kill with Hydro Pump. And Josh makes an amazing play. Goes for the Hydro Pump on the Deontay. That was absolutely awesome. I was super happy when I saw him make that prediction. But in the end game here, it came down to Talonflame. And the only thing stopping Josh's win here was that he didn't have any chip damage on the Blastoise. Boom. Lewis is going to narrowly win this one. And man, this is a really great game. Super happy to see these two guys, you know, go all out on the last week of the season.
Yeah, hopefully they can carry this over and have some great exhibition matches coming up. This was awesome. Keeping the action going here. Next up, it's Hayden taking on Paul.
And right off the bat, Hayden is staring into the eyes of a Life Orb Tornadus. And this thing is just going to start smashing through immediately. Hayden thinks he can go into the Machoke, but we all know what this thing's carrying. It's got the Air Slash, and down goes Machoke. Already looking very bad for Hayden, but he's going to bring the Magneton in, and Paul's going to make a great switch. into the Electivire to get the speed boost, and he's going to set out the screens. And we all know Hayden's rage is already building. You know, he's got the screens up. The Electivire takes an Earthquake. It's going to teleport into Lilligant. And now Hayden's worst fear is realized. He's going to go for the substitute.
Yeah, and we're not really going to see the comment there, but Hayden just asked Paul to get this over with, and he wasn't really trying anymore, and that's pretty obvious. Hayden just wasn't trying in this match.
Yeah, the Lilligant would go on to sweep. Quiver Dance, you know, was pretty easy to tear through the team, and got Paul the big win.
Yeah, got Paul the big win. I don't think, like I said, Hayden couldn't get through this match quick enough, and I'm sure that this is a very forgetful season for Hayden, and I'm sure he's going to do just that. Just going to move on and forget about it. Well, for the last time in the regular season, it's my boy, Blade, this week against Connor West. What happens in this battle, Calvin?
Well, in the early part, only one thing's going to be happening. Darmanitan's going to just click Flare Blitz and just destroy half of Blade's team. Yeah, this is just horrible. This Darmanitan is just knocking everything out. And by the time Blade realizes that he's got a water type, you know, he's lost more than half of his team's HP. And he doesn't even get the kill on the Darm. The Darm just knocks itself out because it's so murderous. But, you know, Blade's not giving up. He's still got the Masquerain, and he's going to get a Quiver Dance up. And this is great for Blade, because he can make it happen potentially here. He's going to take the first impression, knock out the Golisopod. It's looking really good here. You know, it's got type effective advantage, but the Guzzlord is so tanky, it's going to eat up the hit and secure the win for Connor West.
You know what? Blade lost here, but I want to talk about my boy Blade for a second. And what a great season he had, his debut season here at the NCPL. I thought Blade did a great job. So courageous, so inspiring, week after week, giving it his all, giving it his best, never backing down, always being it till the very end. Even in this battle here, sure the Darmanitan was coming in, taking him out, but he got that Masquerain in there, and Blade was still fighting until he couldn't fight any longer. And maybe it's all over for Blade this season, but I want to see Blade in some exhibition matches, and hell, I cannot wait to see Blade in Season 8, Season 9, Season 10, and every season to come in the NCPL, because I am a Blade lifelong fan. I'm leading the charge on the bandwagon, and god damn it, Blade, I love you, man, and just keep it going. Keep it going, Blade. Alright, it's now time to get into the Shield drama for the playoffs. Our first match is Jonas against Ross. A tough match for Ross. He has to win here. Tell us about it, Calvin.
Well, he's going to try to catch Jonas off guard with the Cosmic Power Behem set. You know, at first it looks like maybe Jonas doesn't have anything for it. He's going for Stealth Rocks. He's being passive. Maybe Ross has a shot. But we all know that Jonas comes prepared. And yes, he has Haze. Ugh, that made my stomach drop when I saw that. Moving on, you know, there'd be a little bit of hacks this match, but it'd be on Jonas's side, as he's going to miss. He's going to make a great prediction here on the Rotom Fan coming in, but he's going to miss out on the Stone Edge. Don't feel too bad about it, because he's Jonas, and he needs, you know, Ross needs every advantage he can get. And speaking of an advantageous position, this Passimian is great this match. It's behind the sub, and it's going to get a Toxic off on Cofagrigus, and it's going to get a Toxic off on the Moltres. And with close combat, it threatens the Lantern from coming in, so that it can't heal Bell off those statuses, which is great for Ross. I think Ross maybe should have stayed in a little longer against the Moltres, because eventually he does switch out, and this would later give Lantern the opportunity to come in and heal Bell away all his hard work, which is really sad to see. And eventually he would, you know, sack the Passimian to a Sword Stance Cobalion, a major threat. Well, Ross takes a gamble. He brings in the Clawitzer, expecting maybe a switch out, but the Cobalion lives the Water Pulse. Ugh, 2 sweepers down. What has Ross got left? Well, he's got the Ambipom. He's gonna switch it in here, and the Aurorus is gonna freeze it. there goes all of Ross's chances of winning this match right there. And yeah, as I'll say, you know, yeah, Jonas gonna hold on to that 5-0 victory and gonna leave Ross with a big loss.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super tough to see. Ross really needed this win. We knew it was an uphill battle for him this week going against Jonas. He still has a very slim chance of holding on to maybe a 4th seed in the playoffs, but it's looking really tough. Let's see what happens as we keep the action going here. I feel bad for Ross though. Let's keep it going. Next up, it's Reggie against Zeb. Another huge match with playoff implications.
Yeah, this is such an important match. Zeb brought a very offensive team, and, you know, he's going right for the rain here to try to break through Reggie's team, which is a very bulky, very fat team that's trying to counteract the offenses that Zeb's brought. And as you can see, this is water-absorbed Quagsire, and Aromatize is going to come in on the expected HP grass. You know, this Aromatize was a real bane for Zeb. Able to just wish, you know, heal bell, and stall out the rain turns. He was really struggling getting past these this defensive core. And, you know, Float Cell may have jumped the gun a little bit with the rain. I think if, you know, some criteria was met before, you know, some weakened damage on the Aromatize, then it could have worked. So he would instead have to resort to losing Durant, losing Hitmontop to break through this core. With, you know, with also having already lost Float Cell. So what does this all mean? Well, he's going to get through it here, as you see in the video. You know, Hitmontop is very powerful with Triple Axle Technician, right? It's going to take these Pokemon out. But it's going to leave his team battered and bruised. And he doesn't have the best bulk, and his speed tiers, well, his fastest Pokemon and his best priority options are all gone. What this means, Mega Saptile is faster and is gonna sweep. You know, Reggie brought his day game, and it shows.
Yeah, absolutely. A huge win for Reggie. This is, like, he showed up, and he looks like he's ready for playoffs. And that's what he did by getting this big win. He secured himself the 3rd seed in the Shield Division for playoffs. And wow, he looked really impressive. A great showing by Zeb, and a great season by Zeb, his debut season here. So all the props to him. What a match. But Reggie moves on. We're not done yet. We still got 3 matches left to cover. And our first one up is Leo against Simon.
This is a really fun match. You know, these two really gave it all. And it's a great match to show how far Simon's come. I really think he got the Drudgegon set, you know, perfectly down. He's got Taunt, which is a great bring. I haven't even brought Taunt on my Drudgegon. And it gets a lot of work here. It's going to be Dragon Tailing with the Stealth Rocks. It's going to be getting lots of chip, phasing Leo's team out. And Leo's going to go for the Ice Beam, you know, with the Mega Absol, which is such a great bring. You know, Mega Absol's offenses are so great. But he's going to make an over-prediction here and go for the T-Bolt on the Drudgegon. Yeah, so, Leo got in his own head there a little bit. But still a really cool Drudgegon set at, you know, put in a hefty amount of work. And something else that put in a good amount of work was this Empoleon. As you see there, it's got a Drill Peck, the Trevenant, and get a crit, which is going to lead to a lucky KO. But it's also has HP Fire for the Pharaoh Seed, which is awesome. You know, I like the mixed Empoleon set. I think it's really cool. But in the end of the day, Simon held on to that Stoutland to the end, and it was able to take out the Golisopod, giving Simon his final win of the season.
Yeah, good win by Simon. Great to see him come in with the Stoutland and finish things off. The only thing missing was, like, the wacky Bronzong set, but still a good win by Simon here. Alright, despite what he's telling everyone, this is not Connor Peterson. This is Daniel officially against Robin here.
Yeah, and Daniel has vowed to destroy our group if Robin doesn't defeat him. Well, I'm giving Robin all my confidence. He's got the Swords Dance Meganium in, but it's gone to sleep, and the Centiskorch is going to come in. And, you know, you might be expecting a powerful Fire Lash or a Leech Life. What's going to come out of this thing? The smoke screen. Oh, he's going for the the cheeky dodges, but unfortunately his tactics are going to work against him, and his fire spin's going to miss. These Pokemon are just dodging like madmen, and you know the Meganium is ready. It's not sleeping anymore. It might not be able to see past the smoke, but by God, it's going to try to hit these Petal Blizzards. And, well, it's actually going to take out basically all of Daniel's team. It's looking pretty bad. You know, the Audino might take a hit. No, it's not. But unlike Connor Peterson, Dan is actually going to Dragon Dance with his captain. And, you know, look at Robin's team. I don't see a Rock Resist. Dan knew this, and he's going to go for Stone Edge and Head Smash. This is it. It's over. Robin's going down. Dan is winning. No, my group. I got to delete it. Well, you know what? I won't have it. I'm going to step in, and I'm going to say, I need a champion to fight Daniel, to put it into his tyranny. Give us one more chance, Dan. Please don't make me delete my group. I can't stand it. I need it.
And our final match in the regular season, it's Brian against Laurel.
And Laurel's going to start off strong. She's actually got the Choice Banded Arrow, and she's going to get the prediction right here with the Earthquake on the Savali. And wow, she's playing really strong to start.
Calvin, please, honestly, just shut up. Let me talk for a second here. This is ridiculous. Like, I understand we're trying to provide fair coverage here and talk about all the matches, but Laurel's just getting lucky. There's no great prediction on her part. She's just clicking moves. She's just guessing. She has no idea what the hell she's doing. Like I said, she's just clicking whatever move she sees and she's just going for it. Yeah, I did that too, Laurel, when I was fucking 6. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous what you're doing here. Wow, you can surf this thing a million times to break its substitute over and over and over again, over and over and over again. And even Brian here says, Laurel, please. Like, he just wants it over with. I feel like Brian is probably just pitying Laurel at this point. Just giving her the win, trying to help her feel better about herself. You know, she's got to go and post ridiculous things on the Facebook page, calling out people that don't even give a crap to have anything to do with her. But she's got to make me feel like crap because she is having a toe-to-toe match with Brian here in Week 11 when she's nowhere close to being in playoffs. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. It's absurd. I'm so over it. Yeah, wow, great, Laurel. Well, here's a clap. Way to get a win when it doesn't even matter. Good for you, buddy. Good for you.
Hell, Douglas. I thought you said this was a dead issue.
Just want to apologize for that tirade. I took a few seconds to compose myself, and I'm ready to... Let's talk about the standings after our final week of the regular season in the Commander Draft Tournament. These are how... This is it complete. We've had every week now. This is how it's shaped up. This is where we ended things off at. Any thoughts, Calvin, as you look at these standings here?
Yeah, I've got quite a few things to say. We don't really need to discuss the players in playoffs, but I'd like to focus a little bit on the players that didn't make playoffs. And yeah, I think you had something you wanted to say about Vic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll kind of take the reins here, and I'll kind of combine Vic and Sean. I think they were so close to making playoffs, as we could see. Vic was his playoffs. He was out of playoffs after week 10. Sean out of playoffs after this week here in his match with you. Great showings by these players in this season. They were so close, and I think of a player like Sean. It just shows like his first few weeks really cost him. He kind of had some, took some bad losses, or he had some kind of average wins, and like the differential was just too low, and he kind of put himself in an improbable position. He had to like absolutely destroy you in a match. And William did take a bad loss, but there was just too much going against him, and it was tough for him to not make playoffs to see that happen. But that was the case. But a great season by both Vic and Sean overall. Really impressive stats by those two.
Yeah, and you know, I've got some things to say as well here. So, starting with Paul. So, you know, he ended off with a 5-6, which is really strong as your first showing in the NCPL. The things that were holding him back was, just not quite fully understanding, the strengths of his teams. And I actually think it took, Ross to help Paul with that. After Ross's draft analysis video, Paul definitely started taking some of those tips and, started bringing some really great techs and some really great options to his matches. And he actually started taking some wins in the later parts of the season. So he may not have been in playoff contention at all this season, but I think he's got the makings to be a great player in the next season. Now, looking at Lewis, Lewis was really slated to be a top contender this season, especially with that, being high up in the draft order and getting Blastoise as his captain. Lots of potential. But, things just never seemed to pan out for him, whether it was, his team building or his matchups or what have you. Just nothing really seemed to materialize for his run here, and he kind of, piddled out. Looking at Connor West, you could definitely see the battle rust on this guy here. He's actually played really well in the team leagues, but, here it's been a little while since he's played, and it definitely showed. And, I think if he's going to continue to play with us, he'll continue to do better. But, for not playing for a long time, he had some of the most entertaining and great matches of the season.
And finishing off in the 10th spot of the Sword Division, it's my boy Blade. I talked about it earlier, but I'm just so impressed by Blade. He had such heart, such grit, such determination, really never gave up in his battles, showed a lot of great, young prowess, and hopefully he's going to capitalize on that in the seasons to come. Finished off at 3-8. I know not super impressive, but I think for a first season, that's pretty awesome to come into this league and come away with 3 wins. And I hope he's able to build on that in the seasons to come and keep moving up those standings and eventually get himself a spot in the Hall of Fame. I know he can do it.
Looking at 11th place, we got Joshua. He definitely, performed on the low end here. And I think a major reason for that was his refusal to do any trades. I really hope next season that if he wants to play, which I hope he does, he definitely has a lot of skill and a lot to prove. I hope, if he comes out with a weaker draft that has some issues, that he's more open to the idea of making trades. Because if he is, I think he'll see a lot of, a lot to gain with that. And the last spot is Hayden. And wow, I don't think I've ever seen Hayden at the bottom spot of a season. I'm not going to get too much into it. I'm sure he's frustrated enough, and I feel frustrated for him. This is a tough season. I know Hayden's a much better player than this placement means. So, next season, I've got high hopes for him to, get right back into it and be a top contender.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier, and I think just a forgettable season for Hayden. We know he's a lot better. Moving over to the Shield Division, I want to talk about Ross. So heartbreaking. Again, another player that just a little rough in the first few weeks. He really, looking at the stats earlier, and there was about 4 weeks in a row that Ross was holding on to that 7th position. Didn't really know what kind of impact he was going to have this season. And then suddenly the light switch just flipped and he turned things around and he was on a roll. And he got dealt a bad hand this week with Jonas on the other side. And unfortunately, he was on the losing end of that battle. And the other things, the stars just didn't align for him to be able to make playoffs. But I think a super impressive showing by Ross. And I feel for him, man. I feel for him, and I know he'll come back in Season 8 stronger than ever. Again, with another player like Zeb moving in, who kind of took 6th place in the division in the standings. His first season in the NCPL. What a showing by that. I love seeing the new players come in and take a chance on themselves. And Zeb, a great finish here. 6th place, 6-5 with a 0 differential. He was in the running. He was in the conversation. Took a loss this week, and Reggie edges him out to take that 3rd seed, but that could have been Zeb, or Zeb could have been in the talk there, and I think that's awesome. That's what I love to see in this group and in this league. A great showing by Zeb, and again, I look forward to seeing what he can do in the seasons to come, and I hope he's feeling encouraged and wants to keep playing with everyone in the group.
Yeah. And looking at Chris at 7th place, this is the first time in his NCPL history that he hasn't made playoffs. And, he was damn close. If he had beaten Jared, I'm pretty sure he would have been able to get in on that spot. But, he just got caught off guard, and really rough last week for him. And really rough season, I would say. I think he maybe put a little bit too much into his captain there. with the Reggie Drago, and its move pool really let him down, and just was constantly fighting with his team more than his opponents, which was led him in being in the 7th place here. And looking at 8th, we got Laurel, 5 and 6. Yeah, I think this may be one of her weaker drafts, in my opinion. Had some problems, and she really struggled to utilize the offensive nature of her team sometimes. But, hey, she's still middle of the pack. 5 and 6, that's not terrible. If this is, Laurel's low, we know how well she can do in these tournaments, and this isn't that bad at all. I'll look at it, Brian. This is his first run in the NCPL, and I think he did pretty great. Maybe his win-loss doesn't show it, but watching his matches week in and out, I got to see so much of his brilliance in his sets, in his compositions, his plays. It is really great, and honestly opened my eyes to some, new techs that I even didn't know about. And in the 10th place spot, we got Simon with 3 wins and 8 losses. That's a big step up from last season. He's getting more wins consistently, improving as a player. I can't wait to see what Simon will do next time. Now in that last spot, these last 2 spots, we've got Daniel and Leo. The standings aren't going to reflect how well they did because they were taken over for lesser teams. But those 2 players did us a huge favor in stepping in and helping keeping the league running, which is, commendable. I give them all the kudos in the world for that.
Yeah, a huge kudos to those 2 stepping in and helping us be able to finish out the season properly without having to tiptoe and figure things out and pivot too much. Huge thanks to them for stepping in and doing that. I think a tremendously successful and awesome season. Season 7 here in the NCPL, the Commander Draft Tournament. Everyone should be super happy and proud of themselves. I think just huge props to everyone for coming out and playing. And what a great 11 weeks it's been. Looking forward to the exhibition matches and the playoffs to come to finally crown and see who wins. The tournament takes it all, gets themselves into Hall of Fame. But great job. Alright, here it is, the playoff bracket for Season 7 of the NCPL, the Commander Draft Tournament. This is it right here. We'll get more into this, we'll break it down a bit more into it on next week's episode. Calvin, I'll hold off on your thoughts for now, but be sure to tune in next week when we cover all those exhibition matches. And of course, we will get more detailed into this. We'll have some predictions, we'll break down these matches a bit more. But for now, I just want to present this to everyone to show them the playoff bracket and how things look in round 1 of the playoffs. On the sword side, it's Matthew going against William, and then it's Calvin against Florian. And on the shield side, we have Jonas against Jared, and then Robin against Reggie. Those are our 4 opening matches for the playoffs. I am so excited. I cannot wait to follow this and see as we go week to week to week and eventually crown the winner of this tournament, who will be the next entrant in the Hall of Fame of the NCPL. And we'll have all the action here like we always do. What an episode this was. Holy smokes. I can't believe it. So many great matches. Exhibition matches starting next week, and then playoffs starting the week after. Unbelievable. Can't wait to cover it all. This has been such a fun journey, and I look forward to keep the journey going for the next few weeks to come. That's going to do it for us here on this episode of PokeCentre. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Be sure to stay tuned for the Game of the Week. The Game of the Week this week is from the Shield Division. It is Dan, the man, stepping in for Connor to take on Robin. What a fun match it was. So great. Super hyped up by Dan. Be sure to stay tuned and watch that match. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. Your Pokemon have rested up, and we hope to see you soon.